Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadandi Swapatandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sarvajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sujivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Harijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishada Vinamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Kripika Kanda Radha Kanda Namosure Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Shri Radhi Vrindavini Shri Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubesha Krabasundebe Vacha Paditana Pavani Vaishnami Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bodhale Shri Hade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nandinamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Vishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Deveshtarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. Now who's this Sharmila Vasudevan? This is the Bhakti Shastri class happening. Do you belong to this class? The person left. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, do you belong to Bhakti Shastri class? No.
Oh, yes.
English?
Malayalam.
It's not now. It's on Wednesdays. Malyalam Bhakti Shastri is on Wednesday, okay?
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
That's okay. Because my Prabhu also take Bhakti Shastri in Malayalam. That's on Wednesdays he take the same link. Maybe that's why they just entered. Okay. So we'll just start with chapter 10, very important chapter, the opulence of the absolute. So this is like a theory of the universal form. Krishna is going to give the opulences in theory. It's like a theory first, and then practically he'll demonstrate the opulences. And chapter 10 have the Chatursloki of Bhagavad Gita. Does anyone know Chatursloki Kantastha without seeing 10.8, 9, 10, 11? Oh, Sharmila Mataji, nice. Who else knows? Sunita and Mataji then? Only two of them knows. Okay. So all of you should know all the slokas, that is 10.8 to 11. Okay. 10.8, 9, 10, 11. Also knows. Okay. So 10.8, 9, 10, 11. If you know these four slokas, you know the whole Bhagavad Gita. You don't have to, those who want to study. Ganesh and Prabhu, can you praise the slokas to be memorized in this chapter and put in the chat?
Sure, Mataji, but what happened now? Right now, actually, I'm in Chennai, Mataji. My father-in-law passed away, so I'm in that ritual. So I didn't bring all those.
I just want to see whether the Chatursloki comes. Anyway, next class we can put so that devotees can start learning. If anyone have the list of the slokas to be memorized, you see 10.8, 9, 10, 11. Chatursloki, very important slokas in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, the opulence. So 1 to 7 is understanding how Krishna is unknowable and the source of all. And 8 to 11 is about pure bhakti. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Like you have Chatursloki Bhagavatam, which was the original slokas chanted by Vyasadeva to Brahma. So, I mean, Lord to Brahma. So similarly, here in Bhagavad Gita also these four slokas, it is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Then last 12 to 18 is about Arjuna accepting Krishna as in the supreme position. So what's the link between the two chapters? Sometimes such questions can come, like how do you link the previous chapter with the 9 and 10? Only 8 and 10? Oh. Okay, so you just need to study only 10.8 with this Aham Sarvasya Pravo Matta Sarvam Pravartade Iti Matva Bachante Ma Buddha Bhava Samnida, and 10.8 and 10. 10 is Tesham Sadairuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenama Bhupaya. Only those two slokas. But it's good if you know 8, 9, 10, and 11. So chapter 9, Krishna concludes with the instruction to fix the mind. Which is that sloka? Who knows? 9.34. Was the most confidential? Yes, Sharmila Mataji. Can't hear you. Hare Krishna. I can't hear you, Mataji. Chitra Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Now I can. Yes.
Okay. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro mam evaishyasi yuktva atmanam matparayanaha.
Yes. So Chitra Mataji, can you explain what's the meaning of it? Manmana, Madbhakto, Madhyaji, Mam Namaskaram.
Manmana, engage your mind in thinking of Krishna.
Yes.
And Madbhakto, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me.
Yes. So if you do this, you can definitely go to Krishna. So this is the most confidential instruction in Bhagavad Gita 9.34. In this chapter, chapter 10, Krishna describes about his opulences on which a devotee can fix his mind and remember him whenever he sees anything opulent, powerful, and beautiful in this world. So whenever Prabhupada sees anything beautiful, he always compares it with Krishna. It has to be because Krishna is all in all, no? All beauty, all fame, everything, Shadaishwarya Purna. So in chapter 7 and 9, Lord Krishna explained how his different energies are working and to establish devotion in firm conviction. In chapter 10, he will explain his specific manifestation and opulences or the vibhutis. Once devotion increases by hearing more about Krishna's opulences. So sloka 1 to 7 is about knowing how Krishna is unknowable and Krishna's origin is impossible to understand. He is the source of all, and that which has been created cannot independently understand its own source. So one who understands this fact serves Krishna with devotion. The knowing of Krishna with the supreme position inspires one to take process service. One can understand Krishna by his mercy only. Swayameva Spuratira. Fully understanding Krishna frees us from all the sins, and appreciating Krishna's position naturally leads to surrender. An example given is like sometimes those who are working late, sometimes you have night shifts. Just imagine you have a night shifts and you are in like a busy town like Mumbai or somewhere, and you are in a cab. So the cab driver is taking only all your colleagues got down and it's only you, and middle of the night, like 12 o'clock, you're alone, like especially Matajis, and the cab driver is taking you to some unknown place and he is going to the right and left and inside jungles and all. Won't you get scared? Anybody, any Matajis, however strong you are, still inside there'll be a fear. Where is this fellow taking me in the middle of the night? And you know you're supposed to go right and he is going through some other way, a shortcut. And then you feel little scared or worried. But then if your elder brother is sitting in the front seat, you might sleep in the car. You're not even bothered, right? So that's the example given. Like once you know that Krishna is there to take care of you, of the devotees, then you don't have to worry about anything, about your future or anything. And all the sins, everything will be taken care by Krishna. So 10.1, Krishna reveals more wonderful knowledge about him. That's the sloka starting with 10.1. Shri Bhagavan Vaja Bhuya eva mahabaho shrinu me paramam vacha yatte aham priyamanaya vakshami hitakamaya kamyaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. So for Arjuna, Krishna is giving. Arjuna is representing all of us, right? Because Arjuna is a dear friend. Bhaktosi Sakha Cheti. And he was not envious. That's why Krishna gave that knowledge to Arjuna. So meaning of Bhagavan is explained here by Parashara Muni, one who is full in 6 opulences, full strength, full wealth, full beauty, full fame, and full knowledge and renunciation. Aishwaryasya Veerasya Yashasasya Samagrasya Jnana Vairagya. So Lord Krishna offers in chapter 10 and compared this. Krishna gives more confidential knowledge in specific opulences in chapter 9. Chapter 7, the Lord explains different energies and how they are acting. And chapter 9, again, the Lord establishes different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. So importance of hearing from Krishna is very important. Prabhupada writes, the more one hear about Krishna, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Because non-devotees will not appreciate Krishna Katha. They'll be like, oh, the same story we are hearing every Janmashtami. But for devotees, it's like ever fresh. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna conscious. That eagerness should be there to hear about Krishna. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. The next sloka, Krishna says that nobody knows him. No one knows Krishna, right? He is the supreme origin. But then nobody really realizes who Krishna is unless you become a devotee. Name vido suragana prabhavam namahashaya aham adirhi devana maharshinam cha sarvashaha aham adirhi devanam. He is the cause of all demigods. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin of the opulences, for in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and sages. Aham adirhi devanam. This is one of the opulence of Krishna, where Krishna says he is the source of all demigods. And Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Krishna Chidananda Vigraha Anadirādira Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Does anyone know which verse of Brahma Samhita is this? Verse number, you know the verse number of this sloka? Miss Samhita Mataji?
5.1 Mataji.
Very good, 5.1. So why is it not 1.1? Why is it 5.1? Does anyone know? Actually, Brahma Samhita.
The whole of Brahma Samhita is not got. Only a part of it Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got, I think.
Who got it? Yes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got it. Yes. So when he went to South India, the Kurma Kshetra, there the Brahma Samhita was chanted by the Brahmanas. So Mahaprabhu wanted that. So it was only a part of the Brahma Samhita which was originally got by Mahaprabhu, which was from the fifth part, like 5.1, the fifth sloka. From there he got it. So that's what we have. Krishna, who's known as Govinda, is a supreme godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all cause. Not even the demigods or liberated sages can know Krishna fully, because he is the origin of everyone. And everything includes all the demigods and great sages. So when Brahma Vimohan Leela, Brahma was a little puffed up by saying that there's nothing I don't know about the Supreme Lord. But then he got bewildered, right? So nobody knows completely about Krishna, right? Because Krishna is inconceivable. Krishna himself did not know about him. So he had to come as Mahaprabhu. The scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even some great sages cannot understand Krishna, his name or his personality. What to speak of scholars? No one can understand why the Supreme Lord comes to this planet as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. Actually, why did Krishna come? Did he come for Paritrana Sadhuna Vinashaya Chakrishtuta Dharma Samsthapanarthaya? No. Why did Krishna actually come? Krishna didn't come for that. His holy name could have protected the devotees. Krishna personally didn't have to come. Demons can be abolished by the expansions of Krishna, all the expansions, all the avatar. Swayam Avatari didn't have to come. And to establish Dharma, one Acharya like Srila Prabhupada is enough. Krishna didn't have to personally come. So according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has come to save the devotees, to kill the demons and everything. But then there is some more explanations why Krishna came. Yes, Sharmila Mataji. Yeah, to give pleasure to his devotees and to do his pastimes. Yes, Sumalata Mataji. Loving exchange with the devotees. Yeah, to do his loving exchange with the devotees, to reciprocate to the devotees. It was his devotees' desire that they want to have Krishna as their son. So to give pleasure to the devotees, to do his pastimes, Krishna actually came for that. So one can speculate to the limit of imperfect senses, but may reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism. They can imagine something by mental speculation. How to understand Krishna? One can understand Krishna in his actual situation only by the unprecedented mercy of Krishna and his devotees through the bona fide book, studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. One who knows Krishna is freed from all sins. Yomam ajam anadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asammuda samartyeshu sarva pape pramuchyate. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only undiluted among men is freed from all the sins. So when we know Krishna, we get freed from all the sins. Krishna discussed in the previous text that demigods, sages, mental speculators cannot understand Krishna as unborn, beginless, and the supreme Lord, or the supreme proprietor. Krishna describes the undiluted among men, those who can understand Krishna in the three features. That is, Krishna is Aja, who is unborn, beginless, Anadi, and he is the supreme proprietor. And it is also said, why we don't know about Krishna? Manushyanam sahasreshu kashyatidrisitaye Atatama Yadadama Siddhanam Kashit Mam Vedi Tattvata. We already saw this sloka before. One who understands Krishna as a supreme personal godhead, as unborn or Aja, the supreme proprietor. So many Manishyanam Sahasreshu. Thousands may endeavor, but not everyone will be able to understand because they don't get the right guru. Right? We are able to understand through Prabhupada's mercy. One who knows Krishna is freed from all the sins. We have to understand Krishna as unborn or Aja. But then Krishna takes birth, no, the living. Why do you call Krishna Aja? Because here it says, Lord comes to the material world as self, as unborn. He comes from the internal potency. Where did Krishna actually appear? Where did Krishna appear? Yes. Why nobody is active today in the class?
Prison.
Prison, but before that, before appearing to the prison.
Vasudeva's heart.
Vasudeva's?
Mind.
Mind. It was in the Vasudeva's mind first, then he came to the Vasudeva's heart, then he got transferred to the heart of Devaki, right? So, and then he came out. Actually, the going to the womb and all, that's just for a pastime purpose. Krishna is Aja or unborn. Krishna is not born like us, right? We are forced by the material nature. In today's sloka, Bhagavatam, 8 o'clock, Namanishta Prabhu was saying, the 3rd canto, 31st chapter, 1st sloka, Karmana Devanetrena. We have been forced based on our karma, and Krishna sanctions our body, and we are pushed, and the soul takes shelter of the semen of the father, and we are pushed to the mother's womb, pushed outside the world. We are forced to come, right? We could not choose our appearance and everything, but Krishna is unborn or Aja. Even though he appears like a small baby, he's still transcendental, right? No material attachment, not because of karma Krishna is coming. He is coming his own way. Yeah, so he doesn't have any birth. That's called Aja, okay, unborn. Lord comes, and his body and soul, there's no difference. He's Sachidananda Swarup. So understanding Krishna as Veti Loka Maheshwara, that is Supreme Lord of all the world, and Krishna was creation. Even he is annihilation and is different from his creation. Demigods were created, and Krishna is not created. Thus, Krishna is different even from the great demigods Brahma and Shiva. Only activities done under the direction of Krishna are auspicious. Nothing else is auspicious in the world. So anything that is done under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. Rest, everything is inauspicious. That's what it is said. And the 4 to 5 slokas says about Krishna is the origin of all the good qualities, all qualities. Buddhirjnanam asammoha kshama satyam dama shama sukam dukkam bhavo bhayam cha bhayam evacha ahimsa samata tushtis tapodhanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhavabhudanam matta eva pridak vidaha. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. So there are different qualities of the Lord. Be good or bad, are all created by Krishna. Nothing can manifest in the material world which is not in Krishna. Where does Krishna manifest in all these qualities? Throughout the universe, in human society and society of demigods, for whom they created. Krishna creates for those who want to advance in Krishna consciousness, but the person has to develop from within. By devotional service, one automatically develops all good qualities. So Prabhupada gives an example, all this explanation, the intelligence, the power to analyze things. Prabhupada says even animals are intelligent, right? So intelligence is not actually a criteria which crosses us from different from animals. All of us have intelligence, right? But we have the thing to differentiate. Today I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture. I think it was very nice. He says that if there is a traffic light, okay, traffic signal, the red light, you have to stop your car. Now, if you cross the signal, what happens? Either you get fined or the police comes and catches you, right? You have to pay for it. So that is one thing. But if there is a red signal and the cat crosses the road or a dog crosses the road, will that dog or cat be punishable? No. Same rule, both are violating. Human is also violating, the animals are violating, but animals are not punished because animals don't have the differentiating capacity. He could not think what is right, what is wrong, and no karma binds them for an animal. Only for human beings, that's why Prabhupada says human life is a very responsible life. Whatever activity we do, we have a reaction for that. So knowledge, knowing the distinction between matter and spirit, freedom from doubt and delusion can be achieved only when one acts without hesitation, based on understanding the transcendental philosophy. and tolerance and forgiveness, excuses minor offenses of others, and one should be practiced to bear the insult and dishonor from others. Truthfulness, facts presented as they are for the benefit of others. So these are the different qualities which we can see. Control of senses. Senses should not use for unnecessary personal enjoyment. Misusing of the thinking power to spend one's time pondering over money. Control of the mind be developed in association with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Happiness and distress, it is given Sukham. Always considering in relation to what is favorable and what is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. You should always keep checking. Bhava, or the birth. For soul, there is no birth and death. Fearlessness, right? Fear is caused due to the absorption of illusion energy. When you're in Maya, you're fearful. Non-violence, worrying about the future. Fearlessness is possible only in Krishna consciousness. Non-violence or ahimsa, not to do anything which would put others in misery. That's called Jiva Himsa. These are the 6 weeds of devotional service. One is Jiva Himsa. Then equanimity, freedom from attachment, will not be eager to gather more and more material things. Be satisfied. Okay, and austerity, voluntarily accepting some suffering. That's called austerity. Penances or tapasya is recommended these days, especially fasting on Ekadashi and all that. Rising early and taking a bath. Then charity, giving 50% of income to the Krishna consciousness. And fame, a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. So Prabhupada said to even Alfred Ford, no, that become famous as a devotee, not as a businessman. So all these are the different qualities: intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt, delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of senses, control of mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these are various qualities of living beings and are created by me alone. So these qualities are created by Krishna. Prabhupada gives a very 2 or 3 pages explanation about that. So in 10.6, he says the genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Hiranyagarbha refers to Lord Brahma, who is the original creator born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Maharshaya Saptapurve Chataro Manavastata Madhava Manasajada Yesham Loka Ima Praja. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, come from me, born by my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descending from them. So they're all Manasaputras, they are all born from the mind. So the great, you can see the living entities, the 25 great sages, the 4 great sages born from Brahma, the 4 Kumaras, 7 great sages born from Brahma, Kashyapa, Atri, Vashishta, okay, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni, and Bharadwaja. And the 14 Manus, the Swayambha Manu, all the Manus. Present we have Vaivasvata Manu. And Krishna is Prapitamaha, that is father of the grandfather, it is said. And Brahma is known as Pitamaha, or the grandfather. Krishna is Prapitamaha. And Brahma is Pitamaha, or the grandfather. Okay, so all the living entities are coming from Krishna. So first living entity is Brahma, and then Brahma created everyone. But the creation is happening because of Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, Brahma cannot create, no? The power of creation is given by Krishna. Then 0.7 says, Ekam vidbuddhim yogsha mama yo veti tattvadaha so abhivikalpena yogena yunchate natra samshayaha. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind, engage in unalloyed devotional service of this, there is no doubt. So why Krishna is saying all this? Aham adirhi devanam aham sarvasya prabhu, so that we include in his opulences, or we just... Okay, there is an open book assessment question here. No, here we can just go through a breakout room there. Okay, so importance of understanding Krishna's opulence. The highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge about the Lord. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences, we cannot engage in devotional service. We need to have strong faith. Ado Shraddha Sadhu Sangha. So our faith should be there, no? We should be convinced about the different energies of the Lord. That's why Krishna shows his opulences. Generally, people know that God is great. Prabhupada says this. They know God is great, but they don't know how great God is. Everyone says, oh, God is great, God is great. So Prabhupada is like, they don't know how great he is. Okay, so we need to know how great our God is. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. So unless you keep hearing about somebody, how will you have some affection towards that person? So similarly, you need to hear more about Krishna. The more and more we hear about Krishna, you will get more attached to him, become surrendered to Krishna. When one factually knows the opulence of the Supreme, there is no alternative but surrender to him. So it is really required, this knowledge is required to increase our interest in the loving service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is. By knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in devotional service. Which stage is this? Becoming fixed. What is that stage in the 9 stages in Bhakti? Fixed means?
Sita Prajna, Mataji.
In the 9 stages.
Samadhi, Mataji.
Ganeshan Prabhu?
Bhava.
Nishtha.
Nishtha. Good. Nishtha. It is Nishtha. Okay. Adu Shraddha Tada Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anarthani Nishtha. Nishtha is that becoming fixed in devotional service means Nishtha. Oh yeah, Sharmila Madhu Jyoti Lakshman and Sumalanda Madhu got it right. Nishtha. Nishtha means fixed. Okay, fixed means what? Like you have non-devotees at home. Your relatives are non-devotees. Friends might be non-devotees. So when they come and say, what is this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? You're always, some people told the Prabhupada, you're brainwashing our children. So Prabhupada's like, yes, we are washing the brain. The brain is contaminated with so many things. We are actually washing the brain, correct? No. So Prabhupada took in that way. But then everyone keeps telling you, what is this chanting? One day if you don't chant, nothing will happen. Just leave everything and come to us. Now we are enjoying so-called enjoyment, and what are you doing at this age? And this is now the age for Bhakti. And so many things they keep saying to you, and they keep giving bad inputs to you. I know one devotee, she was like a grandmother, and the children used to put even fish on her plate so that she doesn't chant, so that her, finally the temple was so what Mataji used to cook for the deities. So the temple was so compassionate to her that they took her to the temple. She was very old, and Guru Maharaj gave her Diksha. She don't know any philosophy, but she chants 16 rounds. She's very nice, Mataji, in Kerala. So finally she was saved. But then this is how they keep torturing you in many ways. Like there are so many Hiranyakshipus around. Prabhupada's like, once you become a devotee, the whole world become your enemies. That is true. So then people keep giving you so many things. You will not get shaken by all that. That is mean by fixed. That means if somebody says something bad about ISKCON or all these gossips happening and something about Krishna, you would be able to withstand it. You don't have to argue. You can just ignore them, or you can tolerate them. But then your sadhana will not get affected because of that. Not like somebody said something and you don't chant. You stop going to temple. No. So that is meant by fixed. So in order to become fixed in devotional service, you should hear more and more about Krishna, Krishna's opulences. Then you'll never leave Krishna. Okay, so we'll just take a quick breakout room. Explain the importance of knowing Krishna's opulences in detail. You can take the reference of 10.7 of the verse and purport in this. Okay, importance of knowing Krishna's opulences. That's the question. If I want, I can put in the chat. Importance of knowing. Actually, it was supposed to be an open book. I have already given you open book in chapter 7 and 8. 8 and 9 we gave one. Now 10 and 11 I have to give one. No, 7 and 8 we gave. Now 9 and 10. After this, again, one open book I have to give. After 10th chapter, no? Yes. But that I'll give you some other question, not this. So this is a question. Importance of knowing Krishna's opulence in detail. 10.7. Take 10.7 as your reference. Quick breakout room. We'll come back soon. Hare Krishna. Yes, let's start with room number 1. Chinnaswamy Ganeshan Prabhu, Chitra Mataji, Reddy Prabhu, Rajshri Mataji, Sunita Mataji. Who is speaking?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
When the importance of knowing the Krishna's opulence is one gets firmly convinced he can engage in devotional service. Then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in devotional service.
Yes.
When one factually knows there is no alternative but to surrender to Krishna, then when one is firmly convinced of opulences, he accepts with Krishna with great faith and without any doubt. Then it is required in order to increase one's interest in loving devotional service of Lord. And by knowing all these things, one will be able to be fixed in devotional service and unalloyed devotional service. Sincere and unalloyed devotional service.
Yes.
Get fixed in that.
Yes, Ganeshan Prabhu. You want to say something? Okay, done. Room number 2. Madhu Mataji, Ganeshri Mataji, Sharmila Mataji, Ganeshan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. By knowing Krishna's opulences, like our faith will increase, and by hearing more and more, we can be attached to Krishna, and we can be steady in Krishna consciousness. And by knowing that Krishna, one who has all these opulences, we are associated with him, we can be fearless, and we can reach the highest summit of spiritual perfection also, knowing that like the greatest person is with us, and we can be engaged in unalloyed devotional service.
Yes.
And it is easier to surrender also, like false ego goes away, and it can be an inspiration for others also to take a process by knowing Krishna's opulences. Anything else, Ganeshan Prabhu?
Yes.
Ganeshan Prabhuji will add.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Main thing is that, and after knowing more and more about Krishna, no, and Krishna is, according to Parasara Muni, he is everything, no, he is all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, all renunciation, and one more point, I am just not getting.
Fame.
All fame, no, and when the people talk about in the outside world, no, just by associating a simple person, maybe even up to the president or prime minister, and they might say, but it is Krishna who is the greatest, even for the president or the prime minister, whoever it may be, it is Krishna who has to sanction. Initially, it remains distant. When the understanding becomes stronger and stronger, it becomes a realization within a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness. And naturally, it leads to more devotion to the Supreme Lord. By understanding all these opulences, whatever we see, whatever we hear, and everything that happens around us is because of Krishna's mercy, and it is all because of his grace. And he sanctioned each and everything. This kind of an understanding, realization, as Mataji rightly pointed out, that the I thought slowly disappears, because nothing of me, it's everything of him. Nothing of me, everything of him. So that kind of an understanding, and it also brings another factor into place, that fear goes away naturally, because we are associated with the greatest person because of the mercy of our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And in that case, and yes, that is the kind of realization, and which leads to absolutely and unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Lord Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna. Room number 3. Akshay Prabhu, Gayatri Mataji, Lakshman, Panaja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As it is said in a purport, the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead is the highest summit of a spiritual perfection. So it is a fundamental thing to know about the God in order to increase our devotion. So if one knows the factually how God is great, he firmly situates in his devotional service and having a loving devotional service with a God. And by knowing Krishna is a original forefather of all forefather, he naturally become a surrendered soul, like Arjuna. After knowing the Krishna, and when he surrenders to Lord Krishna, he was able to win in the war. So like that, when a devotee when devotee educates about the Lord's knowledge, it helps him to get rid of all doubts and all other negative influences. It helps him to grow faster in his devotional service. So at the end, for by knowing the greatness of the Krishna, one will be able to fix in a sincere devotional service.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, and one more thing, as Krishna says, Janma Karma Jame Divyam. So if we know more about Krishna, what happens? We can get liberated very soon, no? Because everything, all our doubts will get cleared. And if we know more and more about Krishna, all the doubts will get cleared. And yes, as you all said, we become fixed in devotional service and we can advance. But the real goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna says, we can't know everything about Krishna. Nobody can know everything about Krishna. But yes, because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, Acharya's mercy, we know something about Krishna in truth. Then our process of liberation going back to Godhead is opening. So yes, so this is why importance of important. And next week we'll start with the Chatusloki 10.8 because today I have to take slokas from Gayatri Mataji. Did anyone miss sloka chanting for the last module, module 1? This is the last chance. I think everyone did, right? And all of you finished the closed book exam also, no? Nobody missed? Okay. So I think we can end here. Vanchakalpatarupasya kripasindhibhyo paritana pavnibhyo Vaishnavibhyo